Hi and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Elena Russo. More than ever before, there is a need for foster parents in the Virginia area. Today's guest is going to tell us how we can get involved and help with some of these homeless children. Please welcome Maggie Wilkinson, who is the program manager for Northern Virginia Family Service. Maggie, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, tell me a little bit about what your organization does.
We're actually a private nonprofit community service organization. We've been around for over 85 years, and we actually have a large spectrum of social services programs that range from job training. We have a homeless shelter, early Head Start program, and I'm actually responsible for overseeing our foster care program.
Talk a little bit about how you've seen the numbers rising in terms of the number of homeless children.
Yes, actually, we are seeing an increase in children coming into care. We always, if possible, want to keep children with their biological families, but unfortunately that's not always an option. And so we do have a need for, parents that are able to step forward and open up their heart and home to these children.
And you're looking not necessarily for foster parents to take a child forever, but you have what's called respite care, which is very interesting.
We do. We actually have a program where to give our foster parents a break, or for biological families that may need some additional support. We have our respite care program where we ask parents to just obligate themselves to 1 weekend a month, helping support these children and providing them a home for a short period of time.
And that's an interesting way to sort of give back to your community.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about the adoption programs. I mean, what do people do, or how do they go about adopting one of your children?
Well, actually, a lot of people aren't familiar with adopting from foster care. A lot of them are familiar with more international adoption or private adoptions, and there are so many children that are in need of adoptive families that are currently in foster care. One of the nice things is that we do certify resource families, which are families that come in and they're willing to foster a child while we see if there might be the ability for them to go back to their biological family. And if that's not an option, then we ask the foster family if they might be interested in adopting the child that they've been caring for.
What kind of costs are we talking about in terms of being a foster parent?
Well, there is monetary compensation for these families. It ranges based on the age and the needs of the child. Then there are also additional resources that are provided. Daycare is usually covered for children, and certainly some additional resources that we may be able to provide based on the needs of the child.
How about the age range of children that you provide services for?
Well, we see everywhere from babies all the way up to children 18. And they're actually able to stay in foster care until they're 21 if they're meeting certain criteria. So we see the whole spectrum. There's definitely a need for parents that want to work with teens. It's definitely a difficult population to find families for. I believe, in Virginia, there are around 6,000 children in foster care, and over half of those are over 13.
How do these children find you?
Well, actually what happens is usually a complaint comes into Child Protective Services. Unfortunately, the child's probably been abused or neglected, and an investigation is completed. And if it's founded that there was abuse or neglect, then the children are brought into foster care, and they are, our agency is contacted, and if we have a family that would be a good match for these kids, then we bring them into our program and match them with that family.
You're also looking for bilingual parents.
Yes, there has definitely, we live in such a diverse culture up here that there's definitely a need for parents that are bilingual. We've seen quite an increase in our Latino population, and recently we've seen an increase in our African population. And so definitely parents that are able to speak Spanish, some of the African dialects, and actually any language, is certainly helpful, because we can serve these children best when we can meet their language and cultural needs.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, the work that you do surely is admirable, and we appreciate you coming in and giving us all this great information.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've just heard from Maggie Wilkinson, who is the program manager for Northern Virginia Family Service. To learn more on what's going on in your communities, check out On Demand and click Get Local. For Comcast Newsmakers, I'm Elena Russo.